He's the #1 ranked middleweight in the world. He'll be facing Darren Till this weekend. Happy to be joined by the former champion Robert Whittaker in Fight Island. So, Rob, my big question for you is, you stepped away for a little bit due to burnout. You had mentioned that I guess you were kind of burning the candle at both ends. What did that do for you? What did that do for your approach and your hunger to continue fighting?
Honestly, having that break, having that time away from it and that time off, it just rejuvenated me. It just lit that fire back up. It brought the enjoyment and the happiness back in the process of getting to a fight, in the training, in the gyms, and because the fight is such a small piece of the puzzle. It's everything else that leads up to it. That's you end up spending all your time with.
Is it fair to say that in your last fight against Israel Adesanya that you weren't yourself? You didn't look yourself. This wasn't the Robert Whittaker that we were accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, I don't honestly. I don't want to give myself any excuses. It was his night. He came in well. I feel personally that I could have fought better. I feel that my mind was a little clouded, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, showed up, got the loss. It is, that's just the game.
What have you done in terms of keeping your headspace open over the course of your training this time around that you weren't doing before? That you're allowing yourself to breathe a little bit more and take things in differently?
Honestly, like a huge piece that fell into place was just my team being there with me. They were supporting me throughout the whole thing. We were having a lot of open dialogues and talking with each other, and just communicating well on how I was feeling, how we were moving forward with things, and honestly, as a team, we got closer, and it just made everything for me anyway much better.
So when you had taken a step away, how long did it take for it to click in, where it was like, I need to get back at this, where the real hunger kicked in to want to compete once again?
Yeah, honestly, about 2 months. 2 months, and I knew that I have to get back. Like that hunger was eating away at me. The inactivity, the no training, it was just eating me. I had to get back in there. I had to do it.
So let's say you win this weekend against Darren Till. What would be your plan immediately following that? Say there's no injuries. Do you plan on taking a couple of weeks where you would just kind of put fighting on the back burner for a bit, spend time with your family, and rejuvenate?
Yeah, I'll have a couple of weeks in quarantine, mate.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, no, once the dust is settled, and I'll have my little time off, and then I'll be back in the gym. I'll be back with the team. We'll be back working and preparing for the next. We got some fighters in our team that are preparing for fights later on in the year. We got Jacob and Izzy. They're preparing for fights, so like we'll be around. I might look for that time as well.
You mentioned the quarantine. I saw on Instagram that you were sent a pretty nice rig from HP. Have you been using that thing yet?
Mate, I've almost burnt it out. I've been playing so much games. Honestly, it feels so hot. It's almost nuclear. It's been running 24/7.
Well, what do you play on it? What games what's your go-to?
I played too many games, to be honest. I played too many games, but honestly, HP hooks me up. It's hanging in there. I'm putting it through its paces. Trust me.
So Darren Till, your opponent this weekend, this is only his second middleweight fight. He's moved up like you did once upon a time from the welterweight division. What did you see from Darren in that last fight that you think you can take advantage of?
Honestly, I think he's quite well rounded. I just think I'm better. I think I'm a little faster. I think I hit a little harder. I think I have more cardio. I'm smarter as a fighter. I think I just have more dimensions I can use to exploit on him.
One opponent that you were going to have back in the day, it fell through on fight day because you had an emergency, was Kelvin Gastelum. Now, Gastelum, he lost to Darren Till and then lost again this past weekend to Jack Hermanson. What advice would you give Kelvin right now, seeing what has happened to his career over the last little bit?
I'm not going to give him advice. Any advice I'd give him would be like a slap in the face. He's like, well, he's one of my biggest opponents, potential opponents. The thing is, he's a great fighter. He's just had some bad nights. That's all there is to it. Like, are you going to kick him while he's down? This is part of the game. So this is what happens.
It's not a matter of kicking him while he's down. I think I agree with you. He's a fantastic fighter.
100%.
I was just wondering if there was anything that perhaps you saw that that might help him, or anything that you've done in the last little bit that might help him in his approach? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to give the guy any tips because, like you said, he's your future opponent of yours.
Yeah, don't get heel hooked. What?
Well, fair enough. That is good advice. So
great advice.
so with Darren, have you been face to face with him as of yet?
No, I haven't. I try to avoid him. You know, we're obviously in very close quarters here at the hotel, so I'm trying to keep to myself and just make the weight, get my head in the right place, and just get to work. I just want to get to work, mate. I want to do my job. I'm here to do a job. I'm going to get my job done, and then I'm going to go home. You know, this is my working week, and here I am.
Well, you had your 2 months off from training, and you were taking that breath out. Did you get heavy? Did you or were you able to stay in shape and still have a bit of a workout regimen?
I got yoked. I don't even know if you guys say that. I just did weights. I just trained when I wanted to, which was it's a massive difference compared to what I usually do and what most fighters do, because what we do, we train as a living, you know, we train as our job. So to have that option and that freedom of, I was only training when I truly wanted to. It was a massive mind shift.
One subject that's come up a lot recently is overtraining. A lot of fighters have been encouraged against overtraining. Did you at a time overtrain, and have you changed how often you're training now to kind of offset that?
Honestly, I don't think I can ever be accused of overtraining. I'm aware of it. It's more, if you like, for lack of a better term, it's more the overtraining the mind. You know, my mind needed a break more than anything. Not my body so much.
Can you elaborate on that at all? So when you say your mind needed a break, there was just too much coming at you at once. You were the champion at the time. You had a lot of obligations. Yeah, it was along those lines.
A lot of things had shifted. Like a lot of changes have happened in the last 5 years that I just haven't really let myself acclimatize to. You know, acclimate to. So it just all got a bit much. I felt like I was rushing. You know, I felt like I was doing things not in my own time, in my own pace. I was kind of just going with the flow.
You were in your early 20s. I mean, when you were champion, mid to early 20s, and of course you're married. You have children. Is that a lot for someone to handle at that age? Is that also part of it?
Maybe. It's hard to say because I didn't realize I was where I was until I needed a break. And that's the problem with it, right?
Yeah, we've heard George St Pierre talk about that before. It's just when you're in it, you're kind of in it, and it's hard to take a step away and really examine what's going on because there's always the next thing. You've always got to prepare for the next opponent. And he said that drove him mad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. He could handle it a little better than I could by the looks of it, but...
Well, he did need to take a step away, right? He took 4 years away from the sport because of how much it really, it was difficult for him because everybody was training to beat him, just like with you, everybody was training to beat you, and there was just always a next opponent, always a next opponent. It was like a conveyor belt; it just never stopped.
Yeah, well, that's heavy lies the crown, eh?
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing you back in there against Darren Till this weekend. In the main event, it's going to be on TSN here in Canada, and I really appreciate your time, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're always the best.